Hey man, say man, it is that time once again for me to talk to you guys about Four Nights of the Apocalypse. This week is the Fable chapter 210. It's already 10 chapters since we've had chapter 200, man. Wow. But yeah, the title of this chapter is The Princess and the Boy. And we have a double color spread. So we know what that means for me and you, backdrop. You thumbnails until, the next color drop. And yeah, we got all the Knights of Prophecy out here, stanced up, looking fresh as a bitch. Well, maybe not fresh, but they got that shit on though. And they seem to be standing in water. Perhaps a lake, seeing as, we're in this little magical lake realm at the moment. And another note to be made is that, outside of the obvious one that they have incredible physiques, all of them. I just can't help but be jealous, man. Like, look at the biceps on Lancelot right there, bro. Like, and then the shoulders peeking out there as well. Yeah, no, this the fit tough. And obviously, another something to be made note of is that Lancelot is the only one unscathed compared to the other knights who are beaten and bloody, showing that they are not yet at Lancelot's level. And another note to be made of is that they're all holding their weapons as well. We see Lancelot holding the broken Shirojika, Tristan holding the broken dragon handle just like his father oh so long ago. And let's even take a look at the fit that Tristan is wearing, because this is a completely different fit than when they were fighting against the four evils. And so I'd seen people on Twitter say that it is very similar to what Meliodas, Zeldris and Esterosa would wear as demon princes back in the demon realm, which isn't ridiculous to say. And he even has the same dress sense as well, more so closer to Esterosa, I'd say, because he has the gauntlets and the greaves, which Esterosa had. Zeldris had just the gauntlets. Meliodas, when he was leader of the Ten Commandments, had just the greaves. So yeah, another note to Esterosa, I feel like that is there subtly, because Tristan is basically just a perfecter version of what he initially was gonna be, I feel like. Yeah, moving on to Percival, we see him wearing not his regular the bodysuit that King made for him, but I think it's the outfit he wore before, a more mature version of the outfit he wore before he decided to commit seppuku. I want to say that because of the texture of the sweater right there underneath the arm, and the armor on top of that as well, the chest plate, which I think probably has a cheapy Percival face on it. And obviously the colors are different on that too. And he is holding full circular both hands. Look at that immaculate form holding the sword, man. That's my son for real. And then we have Gawain in her magic charged form, all muscled up, looking like she about to perform for Mrs. Universe, which obviously she should get like complete utter like first grade marks in if she were to compete in such a bodybuilding competition. Is it technically her own hard work? I mean, yes and no, but I'm not gonna get into the semantics of that. And obviously we have the divine sword Rita floating next to her holding up a gang sign as well. Probably just fired a spell. And yeah, this is genuinely a tough cover image. Now enough of me dissecting this, and let's get into the meat and potatoes, which is the chapter itself. We pick up where we left off, where Lancelot and Jericho are shocked to see this girl of sorts come out of the lake, with her even saying it's a pleasure to meet Lancelot, and Lancelot asking how she knows his name. And then obviously they ask who she is, and she explains that she's a being born from chaos, and that people who visit her here call her the princess in the lake, which confuses the two of them, with the princess of the lakes noting how curious Lancelot seems to be and would like to actually sit down and talk with him. With Jericho immediately, having common sense, is like, yeah, no, this woman's bad news. So tells Lancelot to stay behind her, and then, which she agrees. And then all of a sudden, this someone calls out, hey there, folks, like he's Bugs Bunny or something. And we see this blood-stained knight walk out, asking them who they were and where they're from. Where Lancelot shocked that another human being is there, and immediately runs off to them, with Jericho obviously having survival instincts like, yo, hold on little nigga. But Lancelot calls out to him saying that they're lost and can't find their way out, and asks him if he's a holy knight and if he was part of the group that went missing. Where Jericho just exasperated at Lancelot's behavior, but looks back to see that the princess of the lake is supposedly gone. And then the knight asks Lancelot what he's doing here, And then we see him slowly reach for his sword. But Lancelot explained that they were looking into the abductions and yaps a bit more. And Jericho dashes to get him out the way, out of the slash, with her asking the knight if he'd gone mad. With the knight seemingly just yapping about how the lake, that no one else can have it and that it belongs to him. And he releases a magic called Spirit Squall, which releases a bunch of magical bullets at the two of them, which knocks Lancelot back. And Jericho's like, alright, you want to do that? Say less. And hits this move called Blizzard Axle, which is a storm, a very large storm of wind, of ice magic that completely shreds through this assailant. Now, initially reading this, I thought this knight was one of the knights that when Meliodas, Gopher, and Bond invaded Leonis, like the capital, to get Elizabeth, like, you know, one of those knights who like all did their ultimate magical attacks to try and get at them, and Meliodas just full countered them. I thought he was one of them niggas, but then I realized the attack name is Spirit Squall and not Bullet Squall, which I think it was. Someone fact checked me on that. And then moving on, Lancelot is shocked at Jericho's magical power, with Jericho saying that with the knight just talking about how no one can have the water, and that Jericho's like, yeah, yap all you want, no one's touching Lancelot, and then completely hits him with a fatality, throwing him into the lake, with Lancelot clutching on to Jericho. And is he holding a sword there? Oh no, that's Jericho's sword, my fault. And the knight is just happy to be drowning in the water until he's completely gone, and they just look out to where he drowned, and they're just like and they were just like,
this nigga is crazy.
Moving on, we see that Lancelot had torn off a bit of his hoodie to wrap around Jericho's wound, and him apologizing for his recklessness, with Jericho saying, don't worry about it since I'm your bodyguard and everything. And as if he minds going around with the toys, and he's just like, nah, I'm good. With Jericho knowing how it's like how Bond used to be with that cropped up ass fit. Like, I can't lie, that fit really made you question like Bond's fashion sense, until, you know, the Purgatory arc happened and they dripped themselves the shit out. I don't care what anyone says, outside of their king fits, I'm not talking about this king fit from Meliodas, I'm talking about this one. Outside of their king fits, the Purgatory fits were Meliodas and Bond's best outfits, bar none. Like, it's like I said, literally second, possibly to their king outfits. But yeah, going back to, you know, the main topic of the chapter, Jericho goes on to state that she bets that the knight probably killed the rest of the group, as his armor was all blood encrusted. With Lancelot wondering why he did that, and that Jericho said, yeah, well, he told us, didn't he? He wanted the lake to himself. Lancelot stating if she really believes that, and that Jericho goes on to state that how the man lost his mind, to be sure, and that the lake wasn't normal at all. And they drones on about how the space itself drones on forever, and that the girl vanished into the lake as well, and how the water itself revitalizes your body and soul with just one drink. As she explains that she only meant to parry his strike, but she couldn't hold back her force that much longer. And we see the lake lady just camping, watching them, but just spying on them. Jericho states that they should probably avoid drinking the lake water if they can, before they go too far over the brink. With Lancelot's agreeing, as the lake lady just, you know, sinks back into it. And then day 116, that's about like what, 1, 2, 3? Is my math correct? Yeah, it's nearly 3 months there, bro. Not even a full year, but 3 months. And Jericho is in it, face first in it, bro. She is face first in it, like me with Yinlin.
Is this nigga serious or what?
I'ma stop.
This is a sick Negro.
And Lancelot is over here trying to pull her out, saying that if she drinks too much, then, and gets interrupted with her slapping him away. With her, like, you can see it on her face, she is genuinely beginning to lose it, and is trying to rationalize it as like she's doing it for Lancelot's sake, and that since drinking the water gives her power, she'll be able to protect him. But then she actually looks at the smack that she did, and then it brings her back, and it's just like, I'm sorry, I had no intentions of hitting you like that. With Lancelot being very understanding at this point, it's like, nah, I get it. Like, I can't lie, it's just been 3 months and they already like this. Shit must have been rough, especially like trying to resist like drinking the water when they don't need to and things of that nature. So if anything, the worst case scenario, they've probably been like starving and thirsting themselves for like maybe 3 days at a time, possibly even longer, so that they don't drink it as much as possible. And then later we see Jericho sleeping with Lancelot, having covered her with the remains of his hoodie. And look at this, like, doesn't this shit remind you of Trunks low-key? Like the way his hair is styled at the moment. Obviously it's grown out over the 3 months and shit, but yeah, I mean Nakaba is a big Dragon Ball head, so it makes sense. And then we see him, this nigga's not giving up hope at all. He thrusts the spear and is like, I'll get out of here alive, I swear it. And then he's over here diligently training, bro, and promises that it'll be him who keeps Jericho safe next time. And look at him swinging some more, going through the motions and everything. Look at it with the backspin. Oh man, bro, this is what I'm saying, man. Lances are like, spears are superior, bro. Pole arms, they're it. #1 weapon humanity has ever made outside of, you know, the good old fisticuffs. But like I said, man, he's using a spear. Let's not start with the upscale, man. Let's not start with a Romulus upscale. The Grand Lancer upscale, bro. And he thinks back to Elaine as well. And look, this is what I'm talking about. Here, Elaine just genuinely looks a bit more adult-like. Just, you know, just no chest, which I feel like is the right way to draw her at this point. I feel like, you know, like this is how Elaine's supposed to be drawn now, because she got the full set of wings. The king looks a bit like a young man. Elaine should look like a young lady as well. Moving on, he continues practicing, thinking how he wants to get as strong as Barn, and then senses something and looks back to see Jericho stood up and tossed herself into the water, with him telling her not to do it, but then is grabbed by the goddamn tentacle again. And then Jericho is brought out of the lake by the Lady of the Lake, who appears out of nowhere as well, with the Lady of the Lake stating that Jericho had held out surprisingly long, but sees that she is at her limit, with her telling Lancelot, and you know, she's already at the brink, you might as well just, like, you know, let her just, you know. But Lancelot's like, yeah, no, none of that. So it's your fault that my master's going all crazy, and asks what the water is. But the Lady of the Lake explaining that anyone who drinks the water long enough will die in time, as they're be unable to withstand it, as the lake has accumulated an infinite store of power, which, you know, confuses Lancelot and me, I'm not gonna lie, because what does she mean by that? And the Lady of the Lake brings out a droplet and is like, it's not even water at all, and that it is magic force itself made visible by the sheer density of it. Do you know how insane do you know how insane that is? Magic had become so dense in this particular dimension realm, wherever this woman is. It's like we saw a bit of it in the final battle against the Demon King, when, you know, it absorbed that final attack. But like the fact that magic itself, not being transformed by anyone's innate power or anything, magic force itself had become so dense in this place that it becomes a physical liquid. Like this basically, it's Shinsu. This shit is basically Bam and that other niggas from Fug, I can't remember his names, Shinsu, because, you know, in Tower of God, pure Shinsu is basically the same as water. So my man has been drinking magic force itself, and she goes on to explain that the lake itself is a giant storehouse of magic created by chaos itself. Which, why would chaos need to do that? I mean, I guess I can come up with a few things. Maybe this storehouse is needed so that it can delegate an appropriate amount of magic force to every living being that comes to life or whatever. With Lancelot then getting that it was the Lady of the Lake who abducted all the people, and asks what she's trying to do, threatening her with the spear, pointing at her, with her just saying Bryson Tiller and everything. And then she seems she's getting a bit more upset, angry even, from the water, and is just like, stop treating me like a villain, I've done nothing wrong, and states that she deserves pity, not hate, and that it's all humans' fault for being too weak to withstand this, which I guess isn't completely ridiculous to say that, but at the same time, if my theory is true, then, you know. And that she states that they're the ones drinking it and they're the ones dying, which is all. And if anything, she might not even be involved in the abductions to begin with. I feel maybe because, like, chaos reawoken, the case of people being abducted is just a case of, like, these doors opened up at different points. Maybe around that time, Arthur was trying to figure out how to create Camelot. It's the current Camelot, and because of that, the byproduct was all these different portals going all across Britannia and stuff. And then we go to the next page and we see this giant, the true form of the tentacle beast, of this chaos-induced creature where it's like a fish, a squid, and a crab all together. And it seems, is it attached to the Lady of the Lake? It is. And she goes on to state that she is simply curious about Lancelot, as despite all of the water he drank, he's still been able to retain his wits, and wonders how he's able to do so. And she goes on to state that ever since she was granted life as this lake, she'd been bound down here by herself, and how lonely it was. And then she thought about going inside of someone else one day so that she could venture beyond there, and that she'd been luring humans. Okay, so that completely froze my get out card for her. I can't even be a lawyer in this shit, bro. Okay, shoot me, I guess. So she had basically been luring Mandem down here to see who could possibly be a suitable vessel for her. She had talked to many people along the time as well, since it helped pass the time, and that in the end no human appeared to be able to withstand the lake. And she basically self-pities, talking about, oh man, what a poor pitiful being I am. And as she states that he surely understands how she feels, and since he's different from other humans, special and all that. And Lancelot is just like,
You keep talking, man, and you shut the fuck up.
and let go of my master, as he throws the spear right into her with extreme force. Look at that face, the face of exertion as he's tore the tentacle up as well. Look at that perfect javelin throwing form, man. Oh man, Ritsuka Fujimaru summoned this nigga as a servant immediately. And look at the face of the Lady of the Lake. She was not prepared for all that either. And this is where the chapter ends. You know, very interesting chapter, to say the least. More of the flashback. I tried vouching for her. I like how I tried vouching for her, but she completely disproved me immediately, talking about, yeah, no, I'm the reason niggas are here. I am the reason brethren have been going missing across the lands. And since she talked about she'd been looking for a suitable vessel to, you know, venture beyond the lake, it makes you wonder, since Lancelot can take so much of it, if he'll end up being the perfect vessel that she's looking for. And if not yet, then maybe she'll like force, because Jericho's right in her clutches, so she might make him just like go through a gauntlet to train and become good enough to become her vessel, so that she can like explore Britannia essentially. I mean, it's either that or possibly Jericho will end up being the vessel. And we see that Jericho's mind has been, you know, like she's genuinely off the deep end, so which could be leading to why she ends up becoming an Epstein acolyte in the current day, because like it looks like Jericho might genuinely be gone for, but maybe like next chapter or the chapter after, it shows after a bit more time has passed, like it shows that, like, you know, she survived, or like she's able to withstand a good amount of the lake as well, just enough so that the Lady of the Lake may choose her as her vessel instead, or whatever. But yeah, this was a very interesting chapter, and I think we'll see Lancelot's hair grow. I think we'll probably get soon to the point where he decides to, you know, wear it up or cut it himself again, because we do see in Grudge of Edinburgh he does start to sort of keep it up, doesn't he? This was a good follow-up chapter to this Prince of the Lake arc, as the next chapter even is called Prince of the Knight of the Lake, right? Yeah, next chapter is called Lancelot, the Knight of the Lake. So we might get to see the results of all the possible gauntlet fights that he's done, how much water he's drank, maybe a revelation of the true nature of Hazy Moon, his magic power. And yeah, that's all I can really think of at the moment. And yeah, so I'll see you guys next week for chapter 211, Lancelot, the Knight of the Lake. And yeah, take care.
Step back one-legged. What kind of shot is that? Have you ever shot that shot? Do you work on that shot?